Okay, there we go. So we have, so I left this in here, so just for you to reference it. And this was part of the document, some resources for families that you can access and share and support some of your families with, as well as this flyer. This is a fairly new release from Eversource that came out a couple of weeks ago. So I wanted just to make sure you had that. And last but not least, we have our chronic absent, our most released data from December. And on the 17th is our community of practice with Ajit from the performance office, who's going to share a protocol that he's developed to really help support districts in using and analyzing their data. So he'll be joined with his colleagues to share that out. He did this last year and it was so well received. And so I think you'll find it to be very, very informative and support your work as you review data to look at some of your outcomes for students. Okay. Let me see. All right. Got a lot of people joining our waiting room, in the waiting room. Okay. Are there any questions so far on what I shared before we go on to Sue? Those are just some updates, which is normally what we do on these Talk Tuesdays. And now I wanted to just have introduce Sue Ferguson and her team who are going to share their practices around that they've been implementing in Torrington. Okay. So let me spotlight Sue. Okay, spotlight for everyone. I will spotlight Donna. And Paula, I think, right?
Yep.
And Paula, right here. So you are all spotlighted to share your information with us. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Yes, thanks so much. And thanks so much for having us today. We appreciate the opportunity to just do a little rerun of what we shared on December 8th in Hartford at Performance Matters. That was a great event. I'm here with my colleagues, Donna Labby and Paula Gajewski. They'll introduce themselves in just a minute. I just want to share a little bit with you before we get started. We were asked to present back in December on the birth to graduation continuum and what we've done here in Torrington for quite some time around family engagement, long before any of us had ever heard about COVID-19, right? So certainly a lot of the funding that has come our way as a result of COVID has helped with these initiatives, but we just kind of want to give you a little bit of history around what we've done in Torrington and really just a snapshot of, who we are as a district. So I just want to share with you a couple of fun facts about Torrington. We're located in the northwest corner of the state, in case you didn't know. Torrington is the most populated municipality in all of Litchfield County and the surrounding Northwest Hills region. It's one of the largest micropolitan areas in the United States. It's a former mill town. Torrington is home to the Northwest Conservatory for the Arts, the Warner Theater, and is the birthplace of abolitionist John Brown. Our school district enrollment is just shy of 4,000 students. We have 4 elementary schools, 1 middle school, and 1 high school. 50% of our students identify as white, 50% as non-white. We currently have 448 English language learners with new students arriving every day. We are an Alliance district, and we also receive LEAP funding, which has helped tremendously with our home visiting initiative. Torrington's commitment to family engagement really began many years ago. We were awarded the Graustein Memorial Grant in 2008, which allowed for the establishment of the Torrington Early Childhood Collaborative, which Donna can talk a little bit more about. We also received the Preschool Development Grant when it first came out. And during those 4 PDG years, our preschool and kindergarten teachers in district were all trained in the PTHV model, the parent teacher home visiting model. So that was our first official sort of foray into home visiting as a means of family engagement. And since that time, many other staff members have also become trained in that model, and then subsequent to that, trained in the LEAP home visiting model. So home visiting has really become a tried and true strategy for us. As I said, it started about 10 years ago, and really has just kind of continued, and we've really grown that since COVID. We partner with our city and our local community hospital to help us welcome our children, our families right from birth. I don't know if you can see this. It's a little bib. It says future Torrington High School graduate. Our families, as soon as the child is born, as soon as a child arrives on the planet, the family receives a welcome basket containing some goodies, some information about our Torrington School District, and welcoming them, welcoming our youngest learners. So I'm going to turn it over to Donna first, and then Paula, who are going to share with you in greater detail some of the initiatives that we have in place, and we'll work our way along the continuum. Donna.
Thank you, Sue. Good morning, everyone. I'm Donna Labby, and I am the district's grant writer. And along with writing the grants, I also program manage all the grants we get. So it's an absolute pleasure to be able to do that. And just my position alone is the district's commitment to family engagement, because they also have a community engagement arm that I do as well. So as Sue said, we have a huge foundation in early childhood. You know, as soon as the families come into the community, we welcome their children. And the Torrington Early Childhood Collaborative had at least 20 agencies that met monthly. And we had a cohort of folks and agencies that focused on birth to 3, and then also pre-K. So we've, like she said, we've been doing this for over a decade now, and our community really knows how to link arms and really help families. So I'm just honored to be able to be a part of that. Along with that, we also have something called Even Start, which is one of only 3 in the state of Connecticut that focuses on families that are learning English. So their child could be in if it's a child under the age of 5, in a NIAC accredited child care center, and they're being, sort of helped along. We do ASQs, ages and stages, to make sure if there's any developmental issues, this family can find the right place to, have their needs addressed while their parents are also learning English. So we have a wonderful ability to really welcome families, non-English speakers, and really connect them to all the resources in our community. It's located at a wonderful downtown Kids Play Museum. So again, we partner with our nonprofits. We have a warm and welcoming environment for them to really learn and engage and be welcomed into our school system. So with that, I'm going to just add one more note. The Torrington Early Childhood Collaborative, as Sue mentioned, was funded by the Graustein Memorial Fund. The funding had gone away several years ago, but the groups still meet, and they just found the value in really kind of getting together and being at one table once a month, looking at our resources in our communities that support families and saying, okay, we have a gap here, and then seeking funding. PDG was one of those that came out of that because we didn't have enough affordable preschool. So it was wonderful that people were able to be at the table. We had the data, we had the need, and it was easy to really, make our case for that funding. So that was one wonderful thing. And a very big success story is that now we have a Northwest regional Early Childhood Committee, and that's spearheaded by our local Northwest Connecticut Community Foundation. So they have somebody in place that can now really look at all the communities around us, because as Sue said, we're a micropolitan, which means that we have 190,000 people that we really serve in our region, and our community is really only 36,000. So we really have these resources that have to be spread thin, and transportation is always an issue because we have, like I said, some far-reaching, more rural communities that need our services. So that's basically getting us on up to pre-K. And I'm going to hand it on over now to my wonderful colleague, Paula Gajewski, who can take us into K transition.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Sue, for being part of this. And thank you, everybody, for inviting me to this meeting. I work very closely with Donna. My name is Paula Gajewski, and I work for Torrington Public Schools. And my official title changes a lot year to year, but basically what I do is I'm a family liaison for incoming kindergarten families. And I'm also a coordinator and librarian for the Community Family Learning Center Resource Library, which is housed at Kids Play Children's Museum. It's a collaborative project that we have between Kids Play Children's Museum right in downtown Torrington and the public school system. So it's a really special project that we have together with them. I wanted to share some information about the kindergarten registration and information about the transition project that we have going. Is it okay, Stephen, if I can share my screen? Because I wanted to show everybody. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just need to find the right screen. I think it is, of course, I have all these different things up and I thought I was going to be ready. All right, here we go. Okay. So this is the Torrington Public School page, just torrington.org. And what we decided to do this year is to make it easy for parents that are coming into kindergarten to have everything all together in one place. Because in the past, parents have had to go in different places in our website or get information from the schools, and it was really confusing for them. So our school readiness committee got together and we created a game sheet. And so parents scroll down and this is our game sheet. And it's sort of like a Candyland theme. But we have this in English and we have it in Spanish. These are living documents, so we have found some mistakes, but we are fixing them as we go. This is our first year of launching this. But parents can go online with their phone or their tablet or their computer, and they click on the sheet that best suits them. And then this is a map or roadway for them to start with our kindergarten registration, which started February 1st and goes all the way down to the first day of kindergarten. So these are activities and things that we have planned for incoming kindergarten families so they can feel welcomed. The first 6 boxes are all about kindergarten registration. So the first box is a video of me explaining this whole process and just information about kindergarten registration and about who I am, because I am the gatekeeper or I'm the welcome committee for incoming kindergarten families. So they have someone to talk to or ask questions. I can give them support. I can link them to community providers. I can also link them to school personnel as needed, because I do work in the 2 K-3 buildings, and I know the kindergarten teachers and I know the administrators. So I have a counterpart. Her name is Jenny Garcia. She works with the Spanish communities. We all work together. I work with Spanish families. She works with the English speaking families or all families. We all work together. But she created a video for her, the Spanish speaking, so that they understand this whole process. So all of these things are just information that we have, and they're links that bring them right to, like this is a link that goes right to a program that we're doing tonight, actually, and Thursday, a kindergarten registration kickoff event. We are going to be updating this as we go. So you can see these don't have links yet, but we will be linking later on. And that's one of the messages we gave families, to make sure that they check back often to see the different activities that we have and the different flyers for the different activity things that we have. One of the things that we also do that I do as part of my job is I have the resource library at Kids Play Children's Museum. And this library was created in 2014, started off in a school building, but was moved to the Kids Play Children's Museum because of it was the access, really, so parents could access it quickly. I have worked really hard to build this library based on what parents need. So parents have been giving me ideas of just things or topics that they would like to see more of in the library. So these are my topics of education, family, parenting, emotional health, child development, diversity, and physical health. So all of these topics are in the library, focused on the things that parents need the most. And I have Spanish, I have Vietnamese, I have Mandarin, I have all the different languages of books available for families as well. So it's not just, it's really for all families. The books that I have, they're parenting books, there are children's books, there are kits, there are games that are available for families. And I call it my small but mighty library, but this is a picture of it. And everything is genrefied. So when parents come in, I can give them resources that they need, and I can also connect them to community resources in the area. So it's a true resource library that is housed off-site, but is still considered a school library. So we're really excited about it, and we keep adding to it, and parents come in and visit with me, and I help them as much as I can. And Jenny Garcia also helps them as well. So this is all on our website. If you're interested, you can just go to torrington.org and do some research and check around, but I have a whole site for the Community Family Learning Center as well. So thank you so much for letting me talk. I will pass
Paula?
it back over to Sue.
Paula, before you finish, and I know I told everybody we had to be really succinct, but
I did. I got it
much,
within 6. I have it on timer here.
I didn't know how much time we had, Steve, but
You have plenty of time.
okay. So I wondered, Paula, would you mind
There's 2 in there already, though.
talking a little bit about the K Fair?
Okay.
Sure, yes. So if I go back to the Ready Set Kindergarten right here, we have this called the Kindergarten K Fair. I don't have a link up to this yet because we don't have a flyer made, but on March 26th, we are going to have, I think it's our 12th annual kindergarten fair. I think we're about to that point where families of incoming kindergarten kids come to this wonderful fair that we built from years ago, and we have parents and children, we have teachers, we have administrators, we have nurses, we have just the school community is part of this kindergarten fair. And then we also have community partners that are part of this. So one side we have this at a Torringford building, and one side is where we have all of our activities for families. They come with their kids and they do activities with teachers. They go around and meet their principals. They do all kinds of fun things. And another side, we have community partners where they can walk around and visit with other community agencies and learn about their community and what their community has to offer. So it's wonderful. We've been building on it every year. We have close to over 120, 130 families that come.
Hang on, Paula. Somebody's saying in the chat it's hard to hear because I think somebody needs to go on mute.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to find out who
Okay.
that person was. Okay.
I think it's
Okay.
better now.
It's
Yeah.
better now? Okay.
Yeah.
So just again, quickly, if you missed it, this is just a wonderful fair that we have every year, once a year. And it is for incoming kindergarten families, and it's for them to meet they can meet their kindergarten teachers, they can meet administrators, and they can also meet community partners. And it's something we've been doing for 12 years. We've been adding to it. We have more community partners than ever now who come to this and share their information with families. And then the teachers have a chance to talk with the families as well. Our attendance has been building. So last year we were up to almost 130 families that came. So we're still trying to grow that every year. And hopefully with this kindergarten game sheet, we'll get the word out even more, and across the community in different ways as well. So it really is a wonderful activity that we have planned for our kindergarten fair. Originally, it used to be just to have families learn about kindergarten registration, but this year we decided to start kindergarten registration earlier in February. So it gave parents more time to register their children, and we can also get information to them about the different events that we have throughout the rest of the school year and through the summer.
Yeah, if I could just add, and I'm sorry if you already said this, Paula, but police officers are part of this event. Firefighters come, the big red fire truck comes, and children's names are, incoming kindergartners are entered into a raffle to ride just kindergarten the first day of school in a fire truck. So there's all these incentives. We raffle off bicycles and all kinds of, books and things. And we have jugglers and clowns, and, the mayor comes and does a read aloud. So we really link arms with the entire city and try to get everybody involved in this initiative. We provide transportation because it is at, an uptown school. So folks who live on the other side of town may not be able to get access. So we do offer a shuttle from downtown. Historically, it's been a very well-attended event. It's an all-day event. We have teachers and staff members, instructional staff members who volunteer their time to participate. They run activity tables and that sort of thing. It really is. It's almost like a carnival. So it's a lot of fun. And Paula and Donna, have been doing this for many years. And I mean, they really deserve a medal because they recruit everybody who works this event and they get it going. And, throughout COVID, it's been a challenge, as you would imagine, not being able to have it in person. They figured out a way to do it virtually. One of the events is the children are all given, a little activity to do where they cut something out and they glue it. And this was all done on Zoom last year. So you can imagine the challenge of teaching a 4-year-old how to hold scissors, virtually. And anyway, it's a lot of fun. So thank you very much for sharing. The next thing that we just wanted to, just before we get off the Kids Play, I don't know if you mentioned this either, Paula, but Kids Play can also serve as a satellite location for kindergarten registration. So it's also, a home visiting location for us if families do not, are not comfortable with home visitors coming directly to their homes and they don't really want to go to the local library or to Dunkin' Donuts. Kids Play is it's an alternative. And we also this year, honestly, as a result of the benefit of being one of the LEAP grant recipients, we were able to resurrect another city facility that's been closed for a couple of years as a result of COVID. We did have a thriving teen center. It's been closed for a couple of years. It does fall under the umbrella of Park and Rec, but Donna really was very tenacious with the city officials. And this is something that's been near and dear to her heart. So we were able to fund kind of the resurrection of this space and give it a facelift. And Donna will talk about that a little more, but it's also serves as a downtown location, not only for teens to go and have a safe space to, meet their friends, but we have tutors on site for academic support. We can meet families there. We have community partners who have kiosks on site at the teen center. So, local pediatricians are able to leave information there, for example. And Donna can share a little bit more with you about that.
Sure. Yeah, that it is near and dear to my heart. And it's one of those stories of making lemonade out of lemons. We had all these students that were disengaged, and then these wonderful LEAP funds came around, and we were able to train our home visitors. And like Sue said, have a satellite sort of community. Torrington doesn't have a community center. So this really was kind of a lifeline for a lot of students that actually went there, and, they had meals there. So they really, depended on it. So You know, when all this sort of culminated, and we had our diversity, equity, and inclusion committee, one of the arm that I was on was the community engagement piece. And all the members really wanted to reach out to the teens because we knew they were struggling social emotionally. We knew they had the isolation issues, and there was no one place to safely convene. So we were able to actually staff it with 2 social workers, which was wonderful. And these teens are coming in droves. So, you know, 20 to 30 kids in a night will come. And as I said, we've been able to really have a partnership with our food bank. Our local food bank provides all the, you know, meals every night. And we have these high-tech computers that they can access their homework on. And just a really warm and inviting environment for them to really just land. And then if they have some things they want to talk about, we have social workers on site. There's sort of a private little breakout room that they can go to as well. So that has just been a wonderful success story. And like I said, all the organizations, it took one email and 30 organizations showed up, and we were painting and we were putting in carpet, and, you know, on weekends over the summer. And, you know, again, we were able to open it up, and the students are so thankful. And I saw Stephen has shared the link in the chat. And if you go to that link, we have all of our materials, and there's a few fun little quick videos on sort of the flipping of the teen center. And you'll see the before and the after and the during. And just like I said, all people coming together just really with one mission, and that was to help our students. So yeah, so that's a huge success story that we're very proud of. And we're going to continue to work with them on bringing in programming now. That's phase 2 of the Teen Center project. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you. One of the other things we're trying to just share with you, you know, from the youngest learner up through high school, right? So now we're at the teens. One of the other things, and I'm sure that this is not unique to Torrington. In fact, I know it's not unique to Torrington. When school reopened this past fall, 2021, you know, we were very hopeful and I think maybe a little bit naive, because here in Torrington, I'll just speak for us, you know, although we were coming back in masks and, you know, social distancing was still a thing, we were welcoming all of our students back in person. We weren't doing any more hybrid. Life was going to be good, right? Well, as I know most of you have experienced, we too were very, very surprised by some of the very challenging behaviors that we were experiencing, right? That our students were exhibiting, particularly our youngest learners, right? Our incoming kindergartners or our first graders who had really never, I mean, we had heard stories from some families of incoming kindergartners that they had really, you know, for the past 2 years, stopped taking their children out in public. So we didn't anticipate the level and the intensity of the behavior that we were experiencing. This also was a phenomenon at our middle school. We have one of the largest middle schools in the state. We have just shy of 1,100 students, grades 6, 7, and 8. Early in the fall, when school first opened, I mean, full disclosure, we were calling the police on a daily basis because of violent student behavior, just things that we never ever could have anticipated. So I think Donna or somebody had seen online this very cute little thing that they had done in Louisiana, this Dads on Duty. So there's no pride in ownership. We contacted the folks down in Louisiana at that particular high school where Dads on Duty originated, and told them that we were stealing their idea. And we called it Parents on Patrol, and we started our own little group because we, of course, had families who were reaching out and saying, holy smoke, you know, I'm afraid to put my kid on the bus, and you know, things are just out of control. So we have this group of volunteers who are very excited about this. Some folks give an hour a week, some folks, you know, have more time. You know, we're having t-shirts made. It really does work. It really helps to have families, familiar neighborhood faces to show up at arrival and say, hey, kids, have a great day. It means something different to kids. And we have definitely seen, and not entirely due to this initiative, but we've definitely seen things have settled down. We did have to hit pause on that when Omicron started to ramp up, and we really had to be more careful about who we were allowing into the buildings. But hopefully things will get back in gear soon. So that's another thing that I would encourage all of you, you know, use your family volunteers, your community volunteers, you know, if you can.
Sue,
The other thing,
Sue, just a question. Who coordinated the scheduling and the logistics of this initiative? Because
yep.
very, very interesting and powerful, but who coordinated it?
So we turned it over to a secretary at the middle school.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So all of the, so people who wanted to volunteer had to apply, just as, you know, if you were going to volunteer to go on a field trip, right? There's a little bit of background checking, that sort of thing, forms to fill out. So everybody is vetted through that process. And then there was the principal of the middle school assigned a specific secretary up there to kind of be in charge of
Great.
establishing the schedule. Yeah. Yeah, just on the school site. Right now, it's just at the middle school. So we're hoping, I think now that things seem to be, right, the governor's going to make an announcement next week. And I think things are kind of scaling back a little bit. So we should be able to ramp that back up again. I'm sure the kids are going to get spring fever soon. So the timing's all good. We mentioned early on that we do receive LEAP funding, which has been such a blessing for us. We have 60, in the neighborhood of 65, it may be more now, LEAP trained home visitors in district,
Wow.
teachers, paras, secretaries, custodians, administrators. We started that training with Francisco Baitis. If anybody knows Francisco, he helped us get that off the ground. We still have trainings happening, as you know, because it really has been a contagious enthusiasm in the district. We have some really powerful success stories. You know, our chronic absenteeism is still a concern, but our focus right now is really on the individual stories and the families who we know we've been able to impact in a positive way. And we have a little quick video clip to show you at the end, but of, you know, a testimonial to that really. But, you know, some of our children, as you've experienced too, right, all of you have lost family members during this terrible time. The week before Christmas this year, we had 2 families lose moms, you know, young children. And, you know, school was the furthest thing from anybody's mind, right? So the home visiting has really been very powerful. Parents and families have been especially appreciative and feel very supported by this. Right now we have, Donna, I think we have more than 300 families, right, who have been impacted as a result of the visiting, right? It also helped out with our summer school. I know I'm jumping around a little bit. This past summer, we ran a very, very ambitious summer program. In Torrington, our summer school has really been ESY for students, you know, who receive special education services. But this year, because so many kids had been disengaged, we ran just kind of a comprehensive summer experience. And it really ran all summer. It ran from right after July 4 until the 3rd week of August. And we did rotations so that we could engage as many kids as possible. but we had about 750 students participate. And I really do, and LEAP helped with that because many, if not all of those families received a form of a home visit in order to engage their child in that summer experience. So whether it was a virtual meeting, a phone call, an actual home visit over the summer, to really encourage folks, please send your child to summer, a summer experience with us. We partnered with our RESC to provide before and after childcare so that, families could go to work and they didn't have to worry about, we had transportation. So we do believe that that kids really did come back to school in September, many children, because they had been engaged throughout the summer and they felt that connection, and re-entry, if you will, was not quite so scary. So I don't know if Donna, do you want to just show the Gina, if you'll indulge us for just another quick minute? I know we're taking a lot of time, but
Sue,
that's
I'm sorry, I
fine,
don't mean
because-
to interrupt you. I just wanted to add to that, if that's okay, about the
Sure.
summer program, because the Torrington Public School did have the wonderful program as what Sue was describing. We also partnered with Ed Advance and with Kids Play, and they offered summer programming as well for students in the school system and also incoming kindergarten kids. So it was nice that those children had an opportunity to have some summer support, and we focused on children who had not been to preschool. So as you can imagine, there's quite a few, but that was really helpful to have that partnership. The Torrington Library also partnered with us, and they will be partnering again with us this summer in offering different programs for kids over the summer, and specifically focused on incoming kindergarten kids that have not been to preschool. So our focus is really helping those families and giving them additional supports and experiences. So thank you for letting me just join in for a second.
yeah, no, thanks for adding that, Paula. That's great. Donna, can you, I'm not
Yes.
the tech wizard.
I'm going to hope that the
Probably can.
technology gods and goddesses will be with me. Stephen, am I able to share my screen?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go. We'll give it a shot. It's only a minute and a half. So can you guys see this?
Yep.
Okay.
Did you display the sound at the bottom, Donna?
Yeah, we can't hear her, Donna.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. You can't hear it?
No.
So before you screen share,
Okay, what do I have?
display sound at the bottom corner and then share it.
Okay, bottom corner to the
Yes.
right. What if I put it in can I put it in the chat?
Put it in the
then-
chat and I'll share it.
There we go. Okay,
Put it in the chat, I'll share it.
there's always a workaround. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we can figure that out.
All right, let me just see if I can do that.
Actually, I can pull it up from the link.
Yeah, it's actually in the link. Francisco is in there.
I'll put it in the
approve.
link.
I appreciate that. And this is one of the teachers that was trained in the LEAP home visiting, just doing a testament during one of our trainings.
She's a teacher at our middle school, and we can, after you see the video, we can just give you a quick context.
Trying to get this.
You got this. I failed.
Hold on. Trying to get this shared. Huh. I'm having a hard time pulling this up.
Hmm.
Let me just see. Wait,
Hold on.
okay. Maybe because I was doing it.
I'm having trouble with this.
Okay, that's okay. We can fiddle with it and then, you know, drop it back into the folder. So if folks wanted to watch it on their own, sorry about that, everybody. I could just tell you very quickly. So Gina is an 8th grade teacher at Torrington Middle School, and she's been very excited about, and you know, it's funny because not everybody was all that sold. We had some skeptics early on, but then once staff got trained and they saw the power in the home visiting, we really, the notion has really taken on. And Gina has done a great job with this. And she, in this video, tells a story about a young student who did sadly experience loss through COVID and was just absolutely refusing to come to school. And the parent was so overwhelmed, the surviving parent, that the parent just couldn't really deal with it either. It was just so overwhelming. So the home visiting team got involved and really dug into, you know, what was, apart from the obvious, what was preventing this young man from returning to school. And, you know, as I said, our middle school is one of the largest in the States. He was just overwhelmed at the thought of even walking in the door every day as one of 1,100 kids. It was just too loud, too overwhelming. So this little boy was one of several who were really struggling with this. So what our administration did up there is create almost a school within a school, without special funding, just figured out how to make it work within, you know, the schedule, the existing schedule. It's so this young man and some others are able to come to school. He comes to school every day because he knows that, you know, he's got this smaller environment. And as he becomes more confident and, you know, as he kind of is testing his wings a little bit, he and others who are in this same boat are able to, you know, kind of transition back into the larger school environment. So I guess what I'm trying to say is this was also a response to COVID. It didn't cost anything. We were able to tweak the schedule and figure it out. You know, teachers were able to tweak their schedules and come in and teach a math class in this space. We were fortunate that we did have enough physical space to make this work. There are some students who stay in this space every single day, all day, but really the goal is to move kids back out into the main environment, the larger environment. So I guess flexibility has been the operative word, but this is really an offshoot of LEAP. I mean, you know, the home visit allowed us to figure out, okay, what was the barrier to student success and what can we do to mitigate that? So I don't know. I mean, that's really all we had to share. Thank you for indulging us. If anybody has any questions, I know we'd be happy to respond. Otherwise, we can turn it back to you, Steve.
Yeah, if you have any questions, you can just use your hand raised. I'm just going to unpin. Let me just remove spotlight. Remove spotlight.
I was able to put the link in the chat, so it is only about a minute and a half. It's definitely very heartwarming.
Okay.
People can watch later.
Are there any questions that you may have for us before we kind of close out? You got a few extra minutes to yourselves. You can put them in the chat.
People are always welcome to contact us directly too. If anybody, you know, there's no pride in ownership. If anybody wants to steal anything, have at it.
Do you see it's been impacting your attendance data? Do you see some impact?
You know, what's really interesting about that is, so I said we're an alliance district. So we
Right.
recently had a meeting with Greg from the State Department, who's our liaison. And we were talking about the fact that at all 6 of our schools, our average daily attendance is like 95, 96%. but our chronic absenteeism is still a problem.
Yeah.
So, you know, that percentage of students who are chronically absent are still chronically absent, you know?
Yeah. Well, we've seen some good impact and just been hearing some great stories from some of our districts around some of the parent home visits and just some of the work that's being done in that arena to help support and engage our students and their families. But Sue, Paula, and Don, I can't thank you enough for joining us. It's been great that we were able to replicate the great sessions that took place at the Performance Matters conference, because it was such a great turnout, and it was probably one of the bigger breakout sessions that we had around family engagement and student attendance and engagement.
Oh, well, thanks.
I'm going to drop the PDF of this in the chat. I sent the Google Drive link. And then next in 2 weeks, we have Carly and I think Aristide Hall from Governor's Partnership, who are going to share a collaborative mentoring program that they use down in Bridgeport. So they were part of our Performance Matters. So we look forward to them sharing some of their practices and work with us. So let me just pull the screen up. Let me just, all right. With this, I dropped the link in. We kept this in here because this is a really continuing to work with our staff members and our school-based teams on really what are those foundational tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 strategies to continually support attendance and engagement. Our next Talk Tuesday will be the 22nd, but don't forget to come and join us on the 17th, where we'll take a look at some of our fall data analysis using this tool that Ajit has developed, which I think you're going to find very, very informative. Let me just drop in the chat the PDF of today's session. Okay. There it is. I think we got it. All right, here's the link. Here's the PDF of today's session I just dropped in the chat for everyone. All right, so you've got the link from Torrington, and you've got the PDF of today with some hyperlinks from, to Superintendent's Digest, the press release, and some other documents. And you have the link for Torrington. I think that is about it for today. And it's 10:51. You have 10 minutes left you have such valuable, your time is so valuable. So thank you all again. Thank you, Sue and your team, for sharing this with us. We look forward to seeing you on the 22nd for our next Talk Tuesday. And next Thursday, the 17th, this February 17th for our community of practice. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.